Hello everybody, my name's Charlie and today I want to talk to you about behaviour management in our sports coaching lessons and how we can, why it's so important, how to prevent poor behaviour and how to deal with it when it does come up. So why is it important? I'm a really strong believer that every child comes into my session and they have a great fun time. And they have fun not through being silly and by mucking around on the side, it's by getting involved in the lesson, having fun, playing whatever games and matches that we're doing. And through that, hopefully, if they're having enjoyment in the right way, they still have a fun lesson, but they're learning and they're developing at the same time. So the first thing is to prevent the bad behaviour. So how are we going to prevent bad behaviour? I love to use a technique called catching in. All right, you see a lot of teachers and coaches, they catch people out and it's, oh, stop doing that, stop doing this. And a lot of the time it's you're giving those children who want attention, they're probably mucking around because they haven't got much attention, but you're giving them attention every time they do something naughty. So it's sort of like reinforcing the fact that when they're silly and misbehaving, they get attention. So by catching in, if I say, right, can everybody come and sit down in front of me? And the first child who does it gets like a, Daisy, fantastic, well done, really impressed with you coming in so quick. And then all the other kids are like, wow, Daisy's getting loads of attention because she's just sitting down. And then so everybody starts coming in. And I see it all the time. It works so well. It's a really effective technique. But I do think as a coach and a teacher, you should have a reward system in place as well. Whether that just be you're going to be giving away a player of the day, or it might be have some stickers or a medal, but something to say to the children at the start of the session, right, in today's lesson, we're going to look at you really focusing. I want to see everybody listening and behaving really well, trying really hard, and the person who does it the best will be player of the day. Now, every time somebody is maybe sort of pushing the boundaries a little bit, we can remind them, right, are you going to get player of the day if you're talking over me? No, right, and it just sort of gives them something to focus back onto. So that's really good. As well as that, just setting clear expectations, especially if it's your first lesson with the children. It's about setting these expectations so they know what you expect. Now they should know anyway, but just to reinforce that you know what you're on about, I think that helps massively. However, you can prevent and do as many strategies as you like in terms of prevention. I'm sure there's more that you guys know of, so if you know of any, put them in the comments. But as well as that, so then moving on to dealing with bad behaviour. And I really think the first thing with dealing with bad behaviour is about being consistent and being fair. Children will appreciate when you're fair across the whole group, even if it's that kid who never mucks around. That one time when they do sort of start talking over you, it's really important that just because you tell that other kid to stop talking over you all the time, you should still tell everybody else as well. So and being just, let's not go over it overly excessive, but sometimes you end up, behaviour management gets like, it goes to this extreme level because we didn't deal with it when it started here. So we let them talk over us, then we let them start playing it when we were talking, then they started doing it, and then before you know it, they're wrestling on the side of the pitch, and really you could say, oh, the kids are mucking around, but was it your fault for not stemming it here potentially? So so whenever I'm teaching, it's little clear expectations. So when I'm talking, kids are not bouncing balls, they're not kicking balls, they're listening, eyes on me. And if they are getting a little bit wiggly, especially the younger ones, just get them to sit down, and it really helps them focus and their body's still and they can focus on you. Little things like making sure the sun isn't behind you so they can actually make eye contact. When they're making eye contact, they're going to be able to listen. But behaviour management, a lot of the time it's talking about dealing with it. So if you have a child who starts talking over you, straight away, right, all right, that's a warning, please don't do it again. If they do it again, I tend to go down the route of a 10-second sit out. So if they talk over you again, it's right, sit out, and as they're walking over, they don't even get to sit down. As they're walking over, right, are you going to do that again? No. And they move back and they sit back down. And for me, to be honest, a lot of the time, just that's like the furthest I go, because I'm so strict on it. As soon as somebody talks or bounces the ball, it's like really clear. And then the children know what to expect, and their boundaries aren't blurred. So that's really helpful. As well as that, you've got like, don't let it slip with any children. So that whole time as you're pushing through, if they are being silly again, okay, don't let, well, I've already told them off once and they're not doing it. Okay, you do it again, and it's 30 seconds, okay? And if you have to speak to them more than 3 or 4 times, then it's probably a case of escalating and looking at your behaviour management technique. But it's about your behaviour management sort of like policy within your school or business, and just making sure you are following it in line with that. But I think, you know, this video is really about just stemming it at the start. So yeah, really important we can do that. As well as that, I think there's a huge impact can be made by the coach in terms of, you know, making the session fun and enjoyable. So there's normally 3 reasons why children would muck around. The one being it's too easy, one being it's too difficult, or one being they're bored. So if we look at why it might be too easy, so if you're expecting them just to pass a ball back and forth, you know, with a very simple basic technique, then, you know, do it for 10 seconds, they're bored. All right, so how and it's too easy, so it just doesn't really work. The other thing is you go like it's too hard, and it's this really complex. You see it sometimes like you know, you might see a group of year 1s and 2s, and coaches trying to deliver like a really extreme under 18s sort of passing drill and netball, and it's sort of pass, move, pass, and it's like it's too hard for them, so then they tune out as well because they can't do it. And then why they might, if they're bored, and a lot of the time when they're bored, unfortunately, I'm going to blame you as the teacher or the coach. I hate doing that, but I always think when I've got a group of children, if the kids are mucking around, I always think, right, if I was the world's greatest person at being able to manage this particular group, would these children still be mucking around now? And the answer 9 times out of 10 is no. There is some sort of technique or some sort of thing that you could have done to make sure that they're focused. So to stop them getting bored, simple things like keeping stops to 30 seconds. When I'm talking, I'll be letting them go off 2-3 minutes, and then right 30 seconds. Right, can anyone tell me when I'm doing a chest pass? What's my technique? Fantastic. It's like this. Lydia, you've got a really good one. Can you show us, Lydia, your technique? Lydia shows us, bang, and they're straight back into it. So it's 30 seconds, but everyone's been reinforced, okay, what technique we're using. So that's really effective. Other ways to make sure it's not boring is by constant progressions throughout. So not just doing the same game for like 10 minutes. That's where you might struggle. Where you can sort of do something for a longer period of time is more when it's competitive. So if it's first team to get to 5 baskets or something, and they're constantly competing, then it works. But if it's just a simple drill, which I hate to use the word drill, and I really say like kill the drill, because it's just so boring. But especially like say the simple one you see all the time, where you'll dribble up and down the cones and then come back, and then the next kid goes, and it's just like it's so like boring and so drill like that the kids just tune out. So yeah, about just really when you're planning your session, think about how am I going to progress this, how am I going to make it easier if they find it too difficult, and constantly being able to adapt. I always think the strongest coaches are not necessarily the ones who plan the best lesson and it just works. It's the coaches who, when they're in the lesson, if they spot something that's not working, the area's too small or whatever it is, they adapt and they're constantly evolving that session to make it more effective for their children. Okay, so yeah, that's basically a good sort of overview on my view on behaviour management. I would really appreciate any other comments or tips that you've got for other viewers to watch. Please do share, just put them in the comments. But yeah, if you can like and subscribe the video as well, be much appreciated. I'm Charlie from U Sports, and I'll see you in the next video.